it, your shadow stays, a fleeting muse in the twilight haze. She's the breath of mist of flowers decay, the voice of the silence that won't fade away. Ophelia, you drift like a dream, a song unsung, a broken string. You fade like the mist, but live in my pen. Ophelia, my muse again and again. Ophelia, my muse again and again. She hums my sorrow, she whispers my pain, a fleeting shadow soft as the rain. Her eyes are the river that touch the breeze, her embrace a comfort that puts me.
The villagers often saw him wandering alone, his gaze fixed on the horizon, as though searching for something just out of reach. Eldenford was a quiet place, where days blurred together in the hum of bees and the rustle of leaves, yet Elias felt the pull of something beyond its stillness. He wrote about the river, its rhythm, its depth, and its silence, but his true muse was a presence that haunted him. He called her Ophelia. To Elias, Ophelia was not merely a name borrowed from Shakespeare's tragedy. She was something far more intimate, a fragment of himself, an echo of his longings, and a mirror to his sorrows. When he dreamed of her, she drifted through the shallows of the Wye, trailing her fingers across the surface of the water, her gaze unreadable. Awake, he carried the weight of her presence like a poem unwritten, a beauty too fragile to hold.
One twilight, Elias sat by the riverbank, his journal balanced on his knees. The fading sunlight turned the water to molten gold, yet his pen hovered above the page, still. Finally, he began to write. O river, keeper of shadows, do you know her name? She comes like mist, her breath on my skin, her silence a song I cannot sing. He paused, staring at the words. They were hers, and yet they were his own. He closed the journal with a sigh, the ache of longing too deep to put into words. The river was quiet that night, the air heavy with the scent of rain. Elias lingered on the bank, his notebook forgotten at his side. A soft ripple broke the surface, and when he turned, she was there. Her form shimmered like moonlight on water, ethereal and otherworldly. Her hair fell in dark waves over her shoulders, adorned with a crown of flowers wilting at the edges. Her eyes, deep and shadowed, held both sorrow and strength. You summon me with your words, Elias, she said, her voice soft as the breeze. Ophelia, he whispered, rising to his feet. Are you real, or are you just a part of me? She tilted her head, a faint smile touching her lips. What is real to a poet? I am no more than the ink in your pen, and yet no less than the shadow you cannot escape. Tell me, does it matter? Elias opened his mouth to reply, but no words came. Her gaze softened. You search for me in the river and in the trees, she said, stepping closer. But I have always been with you, Elias. I am the ache that lingers in your verses. I am your longing to see beauty where others see only sorrow.
For hours, they spoke as the river flowed between them. Ophelia revealed that she was not merely his muse. To his vulnerability, his sorrow, and his yearning for connection. The feminine aspect of his soul, drawing him into a dialogue with the hidden parts of himself. You write of me, she said, but what you write is your own truth. You do not need to find me in the river or the trees. I am in every line you craft, in every word that trembles with the weight of your heart. As the moon rose, Ophelia began to fade, her form dissolving into the mist. Elias felt a pang of desperation. Will you leave me again? He called after her, his voice trembling. She paused, her figure faint but still visible. I never leave, Elias, she said, but you must learn to write as though I do. Let the absence speak, for it holds truths even I cannot offer. Her final words hung in the air as she disappeared into the darkness. Elias stood alone by the river, his chest heavy, with a mix of loss and understanding.
The next day, he returned to the riverbank, pen in hand. He opened his journal and began to write. She is the river and the mist, the flower and its wilt. She leaves, but in her wake, 1,000 words take root. As the ink flowed, Elias felt her presence not as a figure in the mist, but as a quiet voice within. He would never stop searching for her, yet he knew now that the search itself was his truest calling. The villagers, unaware of his transformation, marveled at the new depth in his work. His verses carried the weight of revelation, the fragile balance of sorrow and beauty, the courage to embrace one's shadow. Bridget, the village librarian, once remarked, "Your words feel like they've been written with the very ink of the soul." Elias smiled, his heart full of both gratitude and longing. "Perhaps they have," he said. And as the River Wye continued its endless journey, so too did Elias poet, dreamer, and seeker forever guided by the quiet, enduring presence of Ophelia.
By the river's edge, her shadow stays, a fleeting muse in the twilight haze. She's the breath of mist, a flower's decay, the voice of the silence that won't fade away. Ophelia, you drift like a dream, a song unsung, a broken stream. You fade like the mist to live in my pen, I feel in my muse again and again. She hums my sorrow, she whispers my pain, a fleeting shadow, soft as the rain. Her eyes are the river, her touch the breeze, her absence lingers in the rustling trees.
Ophelia, you drift like a dream, a song unsung, broken stream. You fade like the mist cloud, you live in my pen, feel in my muse again and again.
By the river's bend, where shadows lie, Ophelia lingers, but she says goodbye.